BTC at 103K, and it's still Chop City at the moment. These alts are a little bit up, a little bit down. It's getting a little bit crazy, but what we do know is it's weekend time, and we most likely are going to get some kind of move out of these shitcoins. So we got so much to cover here today. We got longs, we got shorts, we got full weekend plans for you guys. Absolute banger incoming here. Let's get right into it. Guys, and remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. And I've got a proper degen here, proper degen. And you know, I know that. It actually says proper degen. I'm liking this. Okay, the gun is here. Welcome, sir. There we go. He's cool, calm, and collected as usual. There we go. And Mr. 𝗵𝗆 in the house. He's wearing a red shirt. Is that ominous? Is that a bad sign?
Perhaps.
I don't know about this, sir. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, Banter Bubbles, what's going on? Hype. That's one of the big performers. We caught that one in a hacker's private Zoom that I do on Fridays, and we caught the hype breakout. We also took 𝗬𝗰𝗲𝗍, we took 𝗏𝗏, and we took Brett. I'd say flat 𝗬𝗰𝗲, flat Brett. Hype's cooking, 𝗏𝗏 flat. We're going to see how that goes. And Chaos gave whiff actually this morning. And in fact, me, I didn't take it. 9% up. Though that is going nicely there for those guys. So that is pretty much green at the moment. So a decent alt bounce considering what has been going on. We're going to talk about BTC and dominance, which is the big factor today. It's hit some big levels for us earlier today, but let's first nail BTC here on the 1 hour, keeping it really nice and simple here. You can see we've got quite a tight range at the moment. There's our range highs, our range lows, and Bitcoin really just chopping around, messing everyone around, especially the altcoin traders at the moment, especially the high leverage guys. So levels to pay attention to, ping pong zones of interest to me. Right now, you can see we are pinging 104, 100. You can see this is now a big zone for us. So a little bit of pressure in that area. Every time we hit that zone, we seem to reject at the moment. So that is a resistance, 104, 175. Then I've got an interesting zone here, 105K. That could be an interesting short zone. That'll take out some of that wick as well. And then we do have the full Monty, okay, the full wick full at just under this 106K region. Now that would be super interesting in terms of upside because we've got quite a thick liquidity band here to the upside as well. So if you take a look here, 104, 500 up to that 106K does tell us that there is quite an opportunity here for market makers. If they want to drive it higher, they can come and grab this relatively easily and just wipe out a couple of things. Now, in terms of the downside levels, 103 down to 101,600 is making sense to me, and that ties in pretty decently. Here's our 618. And that is at 102.5, so that makes sense. Here's our 382 at 103. So we're fairly well covered here in terms of the downside grabs as well, especially on the 24-hour heat map. So in terms of upsides, you got the three big levels for me. Lower down, 103.200, 102.500. If they really give us a shit show, 101.500. Okay, you got three levels up, 3 levels down. Again, we cannot predict exactly what is going to come next, but if we hit these zones, we can react off these areas and we can play accordingly. And that's the same with the altcoins and all these types of things. Chris says, bull trap. Chris, I don't disagree with you, sir. Okay, we're going to talk about this thing in detail because I also want to hear this man's feelings as to where we are. So we're going to bring him in as well, and we're going to talk BTC as well. Rob N says, what? I missed that one. Wipe out. What there, James? What did he say? Wipe out will happen over the weekend. Rob, I think if we pump into the weekend, guys are going to get obliterated to the downside. I think they're going to come and take everybody out. Okay, but again, that's just a sentiment. We can't tell exactly what is going to happen next because what we do know is the crypto market is exactly like this city.
Oh, yeah, I woke up this morning with the sun down, shining in there. I found my mind in a ground, but then I tripped on a cloud and fell 8 miles high. I tore my right on a jagged sky.
Okay, you get the picture. We can watch this all day, but fuck me. This is pretty much the market, and especially right now in the last couple of days, it's been proper proper chop city. I say Ivan wants a bullish weekend. Look, guys, I'll take anything. Just give me a move. Can they just give me a move? Up or down? I don't care what. I'm not getting fussy at the moment. Let's look at our lickies here. $250 million. And I think it's so low, James, because no one's trading anymore. They've run out of loot. Okay, they're just getting chopped up at the moment. And I mean, do you agree with that statement?
Did you say they've run out of lube?
Lube.
Oh. Maybe both.
Okay, they ran out of both. 250. We back to rookie numbers again. So
everyone's scared to trade at this point. They've been chopped up all week, and now they put the brakes on, going, "Okay, we need some direction here."
Yeah, and the thing is, the problem is when we get that direction, then these numbers are going to go up, okay? Because people are loading up short and long at the moment. Okay, lots of lickies fun. I'm sure on Sunday night we're going to cover a little bit of carnage here for us in the markets. Okay, so let's take a look what's going on in the big news. Trump got a $1 trillion promised investment from Saudi Arabia on Tuesday. Okay, the man's cooking. He's cooking up some cash. Okay, look at that. I mean, this is AI, obviously, but what a banger. But they're handing him some cash. So he's very proud of himself. And then in terms of the stock markets, put volumes are surging. Okay, Mag 7 stock saw massive put activity beginning 2 p.m. That was yesterday. Heading into the close, there were 33 million of Mag 7 puts purchased. Basically, top is in. You know, are the guys saying that we want to send this one lower? Is it bear time? Is it bear country? Now this man, okay, and I don't know. Did he just get one right and then made a gazillion and now he's well respected? And everyone thought he was crazy before, but he seems to know his shit. So Michael Burry just reported liquidating his entire portfolio except for one company, Estée Lauder. I mean, that's interesting. But he's basically got out of all his stocks, and now to add a little bit of more spice to this thing, he's gone and he doesn't just trim his longs. He's loaded up on puts. He's betting against Nvidia, Alibaba, PDT, JD, Baidu, T-Com, and nearly 50% of his portfolio is short on Nvidia at the moment. Is he seeing something? Now we do know he's got very deep pockets and access to lots of cash to fund his margin accounts there. So if he's going short, he can just keep adding. You know, once he has his conviction that it's going to fall over, this stuff can pump another 15-20%, and he might still be right if he can just hold his position. So Dr. Pete says 6.5. Is he talking about the S&P? Well, let's take a look. Here we are on the daily. I still feel before any pullback comes, I do believe that we are going to get a push into this all-time high, and there's an inkling about that is telling me that BTC might have to do that too before the major correction. Okay, so that is also why things are very difficult at the moment in this current chop, because guys are trying to be in the market just in case it starts ripping, even though there are indicators out there, for example, like our oscillators, and you'll see it on BTC as well, telling us that maybe, we should be a little bit more bearish at the moment on the higher time frame. Okay, so the smart money guys are shorting the S&P. They're shorting some stocks. I do believe we're going to get some kind of reversal. When we do, I believe it's going to be up here. So 6.1, those types of levels, that's going to be my first area on the S&P where I suspect this thing can start rolling over, and that will hopefully tie into a couple of other things and a couple of other stocks, which I'm going to talk to you guys now about in a second. For only the 6th time in history, the S&P soared at least 18% over 25 trading days. But what happened the 5 previous times? 250 days later, the S&P was green 100% of the time with an average gain of 30%. The lower return was 11.4. So basically, it's not the worst thing, okay? It carries on, okay? So maybe we get a little pullback, some kind of bullback, a short-term print a higher low, something like that, and then the fun should continue, okay? So we're not saying it's doom and gloom for the end of the world, unless he is, but, for me, looking for some kind of bullback there. Yes, sir.
I watched Uncle Ran this morning. I generally don't have time, but he had Hendrik Zyberg on, so I wanted to give it a watch. And the other guy, I forget his name, Alex something. Anyway, all three of them think that, yeah, we're going up here. Zyberg's target is 6,800 for the S&P, and then he's calling for a total blow come September. But the other guy just thinks we continue, and apparently Rand does too. Says Trump's not going to let it fall over from here. He did his damage, and he's just going to do whatever he has to keep it pumping forever.
Yeah, look, fair call. It just depends, it depends on their time frame. So some of these guys, like some of the guys, at 5 or 10% pullback on the S&P isn't significant to them. But because we are trading shit coins and we're trading every single day, if we get a 5 or 10% drop on the S&P, it's pretty significant. And we're going to
especially on 50X.
Yeah. So, so I mean, these guys, I mean, I think I don't think they're wrong. Okay. I do think it churns higher. So in NVIDIA, let's talk NVIDIA. Now, Barry is short NVIDIA at the moment. He wants to send this thing down. And in terms of where it is, guys, there's an argument here for sending this thing down, even if it's a short-term dip lower down. We've had a 56% pump up on NVIDIA from the 7th of April. Okay, that's like 40 days or something. And this thing is pumped 50% on a stock. Okay, think about that. And at some point, these people probably going to start taking some profits, and there's going to be a rollover, and that might happen with some kind of cascade and then a bigger dip. Okay, so right now, look, resistance 140, big zone here 152. If we get a pump there and we start looking at divergence here on the oscillator, I think we must have a dip at this thing. Okay, I think we should have a look. So we're going to do this on BTCC. Let's see what happens over the next couple of days. Let's wait for these divergences. That's generally the safer play. And we're going to see if we can grab some kind of short here on NVIDIA as well. And then in terms of Microsoft, well, my second short order has now hit, and we are slowly trying to build the short again. The same sentiment here. We do have reversal prints. We've got a massive gap that needs to come and be dealt with. At some point, I do believe they're going to come and try and close that gap, and the higher it goes up, obviously, the better the possible short is going to be. So I'm still looking to get the short going now on Microsoft. I'm trading this one on BTCC, but for me, what I'm looking for 455 up to about 468. If we start getting candle closes above those types of levels, I would say it's cut time. Okay, then this thing's maybe going to start ripping a little bit higher. So in terms of my trades now, I'm out of gold, and it was a beautiful pumper yesterday, straight into a major resistance area. I'm going to show you that chart now, and we've had a full gold reversal since then, and I think we're going to get round number 2 on gold. We could get another nice little pumper there, so I'm going to show you that chart in a sec. But in terms of Microsoft, you can see both my first 2 entries have now hit, and we are slowly growing that position. So if the market does pump a little bit higher during the course of today, Monday, Tuesday, that should fill the short order on that thing, and then we're going to leave it. And see how it plays out, and if they send us to zero. Okay, so I'm trading these on BTCC. Remember, you can trade these things with me, including gold, on BTCC. There's a link in the show description. So in terms of gold at the moment, now I've switched to the 12-hour time frame. So yesterday's trade was all about the 8-hour time frame. We printed the reversal on a great zone. Look at that bullish divergence. We got our reversal print. We had a nice gold pump. What did we pump into? Look at this classic TA zone. Look at that, bang into 382 and horizontal here for us at 3244. Okay, now we've had a full gold reversal here, looking to print a higher low at the moment. And in terms of the 12-hour oscillator, it is notable here. We've got double bullish divergence prints now, and that is looking interesting to me. So if we get another dip into this region, I think we go again, and I think we're going to get another nice move here on gold, maybe another short-term move out of this thing, get some kind of bounce going, and we know now our resistance is this 3244 region. Okay, they'll be bullish, says Jez T. Well, I'm wearing the shirt. Okay, I'm trying to be bullish, and I saw an interesting comment there from Matt. And he said, look, he's trying to stay in positions in case there is a pump. And this is the frustrating part, because I'm actually trying to do the same. I'm trying to keep that engine running in case there is a momentum pump, and then we can start really adding on. So obviously playing a lot smaller now while things are chopping around. And we hit a couple of stops yesterday. We had a couple of successful trades, but it's actually been a little bit messy while we wait for direction in the market. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of a strategy. David's also going to come with some of his comments as well, and we can obviously help you guys along the way. Now, breaking FTX to distribute $5 billion to creditors on the May 30th. This came out yesterday as well. And I actually noticed there was a slight little bump in the market there, but then it started falling over. But this is obviously new. So these guys are going to get $5 billion again in cash. They are crypto people. There's a probability that they spend a bit of that on crypto, and maybe things do start going higher. Now, remember, a lot of the FTX guys were degen guys. Okay, degen traders and things like that. And you can't take a bear out of the woods. What do we call this thing? You can't take the wood out of a bear. I don't know. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. And then in terms of Don Crypto Trade says BTC has been doing roughly the same thing since the April lows. This is exactly my point that I'm making, and Matt was basically spot on. Move up, tight consolidation, new leg up. Now keep an eye on this local range, he says, and wait for a breakout to either direction would be his recommendation. He's not fucking degen enough. Okay, he's not degen enough. Okay, so pre-positioning during the small range without proper invalidation will only get you chopped up. Basically what he's saying is sit back, much smaller positions, no margin. I mean, no leverage. Take it easy. Wait for Bitcoin to break that 10. What is he saying? 105. Bro, break that or drop below that 100K before you do anything. Now, you filthy animals, I know what you're thinking. Okay, and that's why we got you guys covered. Okay, don't you worry for 1 second. Dave, how are you going there, bro? Are you happy there?
Dude, phenomenal. Yes, excited.
Proper DJ. Well, hang out with me while I'm talking because I'm keen to hear your Bitcoin views. I don't know if you've actually seen this view or my opinion on this, but in terms of the daily chart, BTC on the daily, guys, I've been covering this every day because you can see it looks like a reality here. If this was a 15-minute chart, we'd been saying to you guys, look out for the little fake out, bang, into that upside possible short there. So this daily chart is telling us this all-time high region, 106 to 110 for me is looking very interesting here. We got a very bearish order block. Can we tap that this weekend and then get some kind of reversal? So the downside, obviously, when we do start falling over at the moment, levels for me, 98K, levels for me, 92, 93. Okay, and reminder, bearish divergence here. Now, Dave, did you know the last time we had a bearish divergence print on the daily, we had a pump of 7 or 8% on BTC before it actually fell over? What do you make of that, bro?
I think this weekend we might see that. I mean, we saw that last weekend. Huge pump, made no sense. And then, Asia open with some pumping and then a little bit of a pullback. So yeah, I'd imagine there's some weekend shenanigans here. And maybe we get that this weekend. Yeah.
There's something's going to happen, guys. It's up or down. Something's coming this weekend. I'd be very surprised, Dave, if it just stayed flat. That would be very weird. Okay, let's go. Let's get into some shit coins. Let's get into some things. One of the things I like is the crypto 4-hour RSI heat map. We've been using this one, having a lot of fun with it, and you can see things are sitting in just under neutral territory. So we're not super bullish here, and we haven't got into the massive reversal zones. Remember these oversold zones when we extremely oversold. Then we start getting those reversal signs where we can get some proper bounces. At the moment, you can see we've been chopping around. They're in a very tight cluster here. The whole market is in the same space at the moment. So waiting for a move. Under normal conditions, when we're pumping or dumping, you're going to get an even spread in certain areas as well, and you're going to get some outliers that you can long and short. But right now, it's a very tight cluster on this thing, and I think that's a fair representation of what's been going on for the last couple of days. Now, PMG George says he's touching grass till the weekend. Well, it's the weekend now, bro. So congrats. Are you finished? Are you back into the trading desk, bro? Isn't today the weekend? Okay, so guys, let's talk dominance. This was an important one for me yesterday, and we were talking about areas where we can get some kind of alt bounce. Okay, first zone was hit yesterday, 63.3%. You can see we had a nice red rejection, and that gave the alts a little bit of a bounce after quite a choppy day yesterday, and an overall red day yesterday. We got a nice bounce out of these altcoins, and now we are rinse and repeating. You can see dominance pushing back into the zone, and if you're looking for a bounce on the altcoins, well, we got to watch this area, 63.3%. That is going to be our danger zone there for dominance, which is actually our positive zone for the altcoin. So if we pop into that zone, we're looking for some kind of rejection there. That'll give our alts a bounce off their supports. If we do push into the next zone, 63.7, watch this area. That is where you're going to get your next bounce on your altcoin. So if you're getting liquidated and things like that, and the market's falling over, watch the 63.7% region. If we hit that, you might get some alt relief in that area and get some kind of bounce. Okay, so make sure you use this with your charts and with all your trading that you are doing. And then the USDT dominance. Now, this is an interesting one as well. I touch on this one fairly regularly, but you can see what's going on. This is the crypto market versus stable coins. So when everyone panics, they buy USDT. When they're buying crypto again, Bitcoin, or the altcoins, the US dominance chart, USDT dominance chart goes down, okay, because the money is flowing into the market. When this is pumping up, obviously we're getting rinsed, okay, and they're sending the market a lot lower at the moment. So the positive thing about this, we are in a downtrend, and we just need to be able to ride any pumps that do come out of these types of bear flags. So if we do get a pump here, we are looking for some kind of rejection anyway. At some point, it's just a matter of holding on. And that is why I'm saying we're playing small positions here. We're testing a couple of things, but we're not getting overly max bullish on anything yet until we have some direction. Okay. And what is direction? It would be a nice clear pump for this guy into a resistance zone, gives us some reversal plays, and then bang, we can look for those big longs on those altcoins and things like that. And you probably find if you do get a pump like that, you're going to see this dominance start pushing into these types of levels up here, and that should give you ultimately a nice big move on these altcoins. Okay, so watch these together. It's a very handy tool for you guys. Anyone trading ETH here in the group? Everybody here, put your hand up. James is a no. He's a definite no. Hates fucking ETH. Dave hates fucking.
I hate it too. I never trade it.
It's just not a mover at the moment. So
Garbage.
Wait till I bring out the XRP. I got XRP, bro. It's coming. Okay, so ETH at the moment, we're not going to hop on this too long. I have noted, look at that that blue reversal.print. We've got bullish divergence. We've got quite a strong cash flow on ETH at the moment as well. So look, in terms of a big mover, look, it's fairly flat, and then it comes out of nowhere and surprises you. But right now, for me, ETH levels that you can play with this weekend, 2,550 and then 2,410 make the most sense to me. Okay, so that type of region there, and then 2,410. And if we don't clear this right shoulder, yeah, look at that. Okay, it could be a little bit bearish here. Just want to point out that we could start heading lower. Okay, so 2,410 makes sense to me there on ETH. It is a possibility. 4-hour does say possible reversal. The issue for me is things like the 12-hour. And we covered this a lot over in detail this week, but these things are a little bit bearish for me at the moment. So we just need to be careful. And you can see the market's chopping around. We're getting that feeling while we wait for some kind of move. Now, are Binance dumping all their SOL again, James? Do we know about this one? I know you got opinions on this thing. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, Marty's talking about it. Marty Party. He's been on about this. He's always been on about this, saying that, yeah, Binance has got a thing out trying to keep SOL below BNB, right? That's been an ongoing conspiracy theory of his. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's certainly evidence behind it.
Okay. Well, let's look at SOL. I mean, it hasn't been that affected in terms of the price action, but in terms of, yesterday's trade setup, it's kind of just doing it. But again, so boring. It's not moving at the moment, and we really just want to see a nice big move. So yesterday's plan for SOL, a little pump off that support zone, which we've done, and now we're in the midst of a possible downtrend in play here, guys. So we can see we got a reversal on the 4-hour. We can see that, but remember, again, higher time frames are stressing again. These things aren't convincing. Look at that bearish divergence. This thing's pushing lower. So there's parts of me that are saying, like, let's play these bounces as and when they come, but let's be aware of the fact that if we do get a daily reset or a 12-hour reset, they're going to want to take us down to these types of levels. So 158 down to 153 is a possibility for me on Solana. But in terms of lower time frame, guys, and we can keep those engines burning. Right now, that was the game plan. Little bit of a push up here. I would say extremes for me on SOL. 180 again, resistance area. Watch that. That's a possible area there where we could get a rejection. Watch that 180. It's the 200-day MA. It's the undercarriage as well. It will be a couple of wick fills for us there. So 180, that's a big one. If we blow through 180 this weekend, well, maybe it depends how high it goes, but maybe we're going to get a nice bullish pullback there later on. But again, we'll deal with that on Sunday. Remember, guys, I'm going to be here for you on Sunday as well. We're going to break down whatever's happened on the weekend. I'll do a show on the Banter main channel, and we'll cover tons of this stuff for you. So whether we go up or down, we got you covered. And I'll drag Dave in. I'll drag Dave in with me as well, and he'll cover. What do you have for us today? Just how many trade setups are you bringing?
I mean, I've got a long, I got a short. To always want to bring at least both, a long and a short to the show. I have another long. So okay. Whatever we have time
long
for.
And short, guys, fire up the likes and the comments and the chats there. James is on duty. There he is. Okay, come, you've got to get the energy for this guy. Okay, he literally bought you a fucking banger last week. What was it? Turbo.
Printed nicely, guys, for those that were patient. You got paid.
Absolute banger. Okay, Dave's going to tell you some of his tips and secrets as well. And guys, just a note, chart hackers, don't forget, this is a massive trading team. Dave is one of our members there. Look at this. We are about to an hour for David's private charting session. That is coming in hot on Chart Hackers. So he's moving off the Zoom. He's moving off the stream onto Zoom for the Chart Hackers members just now. And we do have a official Chart Hackers TikTok. Okay, it's going down. Okay, and 𝗏𝗆𝗍𝗏, hello, sir. And there's our Chart Hackers TikTok. Give us a follow there, Chart Hackers. Okay, on TikTok, there's all sorts of things you're not going to see on the show. You're not going to see it in Hackers. You're only going to see it there. And there's FJ, also a good-looking boy. Look at that. Wow, handsome, eh? And he's running a lot of stuff there for us. There's the panda. Okay, it's all going down. All right, guys. Now, 𝗬𝗍 surpasses 90 billion in total DEX volume. Okay, 𝗬𝗍 protocol accounting for over half of the trading volume. Now, when 𝗬𝗍 is doing well, we know we pay attention to things like 𝗬𝗍, which is the DEX on 𝗬𝗍. So we're going to look at 𝗬𝗍 quickly. We're going to look at 𝗬𝗍, and then we're going to get Dave to get out some bangers here for us. Okay, so let's just cover where we were yesterday on 𝗬𝗍. And yesterday we got that long on 𝗬𝗍 off this bounce region. Okay, there we go, and we pushed into the 3.88, which was a danger sign for me. And what I wanted to see here when we were going to look for new longs was some kind of consolidation back above this 3.88 region, okay, which is now essentially what they are giving us. So this has given us an opportunity this morning to try and get some kind of degen long play out of 𝗬𝗍. And right now I'm sitting in a degen long play on 𝗬𝗍 at the moment, looking for some kind of breakout bang. And I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do that. So yesterday I was in that 𝗬𝗍 long. We pumped into that region. I closed that long and I opened a short. And now I'm starting to build a 𝗬𝗍 long. And you can do this on LBank. You can trade long, you can trade short on LBank at the same time. Okay, so that cross or hedging strategy that I use, you can do it pretty much anywhere. But LBank is obviously one of the nice platforms that I use for this. So you can see there, my 𝗬𝗍 short is actually green. I shorted that level. I told you the danger zone. And then we've got the 𝗬𝗍 long that I'm building at the moment. You can see the long is now exceeding the short. And if we do get momentum, I'm going to close that short. I'm going to ape into that long on any breakouts that we get. There's our hype long that we got this morning on Hackers. Again, we're playing small positions today because of the uncertainty in the market. We're not aping into anything just yet until we get some defined moves. Brett is also from this morning as well. And 𝗂𝗍 hit our entry zone. I gave a clear 𝗂𝗍 entry zone this morning and we rode straight into that one. Okay, so let's cover 𝗬𝗍, and this is the breakout trade that I'm looking for at the moment. So nibbling. You can see I've highlighted that danger zone that you can see on the higher time frame chart, which is this whole region here for us. You can see this is our danger zone. Now we've zoomed in and we can see why it's a danger zone. We've got tons of resistance here in the way. We've got a bearish order block. We get it, okay? We know it's a resistance area. So if we are trying to catch a breakout, we know we are taking on risk at a resistance region. Now, the ways you can pick this up is you start looking for prints like higher lows. Look at that. We're getting higher low prints here on 𝗬𝗍, and we can start playing this game when we get pressure into these types of regions. So what we want to see now is 𝗬𝗍 start pushing higher, and you can play this a couple of ways. Now, I just want to remind you, there's kind of 3 or 4 steps into trading one of these breakouts. The first thing you can do is identify that you're getting the squeezy setup. What's the squeezy setup? It's this thing where you print the higher lows, and then you eventually get the pop. So that is going to be step 1. Then you're going to identify a trend. So you can see you get these drops into these rising trends. So these are like nibble zones. Okay, so you can nibble there on that trend. If we push up and we drop back down, you can nibble again a little bit there. Then if we start breaking through this horizontal, you can start putting buys in. Okay. And then once this thing pops, it typically drops back down, and then you can get your full position on that move back. Okay, so call that step 1, call that step 2, and then call that step 3. Okay, if you're trying to play a breakout, there's 3 ways that you can start looking for little nibble zones and stuff. But just remember, you're taking on risk. Okay, you're taking on risk here because you can lose your money if it rejects at this resistance zone. So you want to make sure the confirmation is when the bulls come back and they drop it there, that is where you're going to get your retest. That's where the real move comes in, because that real move is when the bulls actually step in. So typically when you pop a zone like that, it's typically some kind of squeeze. They take out liquidity and then they send it lower down. That is why you'll find time and time again in choppy conditions, breakouts tend to fail. Okay, so remember, the real move is that push. The real move is that second buy when they come back and they start buying that thing up. Okay, Hopefully, I explained that. Thomas likes a bit of nibbling. Nice, bro. Okay, so remember, breakout trades, it's a simple system, eh? Nibble, nibble, break, buy some more. Okay, does that make sense? Nibble, nibble, break, buy some more. Hopefully, you get the deal. And guys, again, don't be scared to take an L. If you're trying to trade breakouts, you are taking on risk. Okay, so how do you manage that risk? If you start losing these types of trends, you can look to cut, and that is why I use the phrase nibble. I'm not saying ape in massive size. I'm saying nibble, small positions here. Don't put yourself under pressure. When you start breaking these levels and you start clearing big resistance zones like higher time frame danger zones, then you start adding heavy, okay? And then you can start growing the size of your position, okay? Now, let's talk CETUS now. This is CETUS on the daily. Look at this, Dave. How bearish is this? Fucking hell. Look at this oscillator, bro.
On the daily.
This is CETUS on the daily, bro. It's
Eyes
not a
of an
good
eagle.
look.
That looks good for a short.
It looks very good for a short. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, looking at this, guys, like there's obviously news now on SUI and CETUS is the main DEX, and there's always some action. But I just want to say, like, this higher time frame is not a good look at the moment. And when I see this thing, you can see, like, lower down, there are some big levels here that could potentially get tapped before this thing gets reset. So I just want to highlight here, there's number one, there's a short opportunity. If you get a pump this weekend, okay, keep it really simple. If you get a pump this weekend, I would say it takes out that liquidity there, 0.2366, bang, and then I think you get a beautiful short opportunity. So remember, green weekend, green pump, look for a short. This is a possibility for you guys. 0.2366 could be a play. And then in terms of where this thing can go, 0.178, there we are, and 0.14. These two are the most obvious zones for me, but this thing is screaming some kind of reversal, Dave. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, you're getting me excited, man. Honestly, I did not see that one, so...
Okay, so this is what we do, guys. Alarms on. Okay, so go alarms on your short zone there. Bang. Okay, so I'm adding an alarm at 2366. If you get a weekend pump, hopefully your alarm goes off, and that should give you an opportunity to look for some kind of short here on the CETUS, and then your close. A close above the highs, I would say, then starts turning a little bit bearish for you. So let me just show you what this looks like. Let's get this out. And remember, guys, all these charts go into Chart Hacker straight after the show for you. Okay, so everything's there. So don't scramble and panic. They're going to be dropped in the channel as soon as the show is done. Okay, so something like that. You're going to give yourself breathing room. And remember, when you want to enter a short, sometimes the best way to do it is to ladder in really slowly. So little nibble, little nibble, little nibble. You've heard that word a lot today. And then you look for that eventual capitulation because you'll find some kind of trend here, and then it's going to go bang and lose that trend, and then you are going to drop. Okay, so simple like that. Okay, in fact, it's David's favorite trading style, and if anyone knows how to put a short together, it's this fucking guy. Okay, so we're going to talk about this turbo as well. So just to recap, guys, short zone 2366. Watch that area from 23 into 245, 23 into 245, and then targets will be 17814. Okay, so wait for the pump, then start dealing with it. Now, king of shorting, king of biggest balls. Okay, this man's got kahunas. Okay, and why are you laughing, Jay?
Does he work for Elon Musk, that big balls guy? Is that really Dave?
Okay, here's your screen, Dave. Oh, look, there we are. Okay, there you go.
All right.
Okay, make money, travel, enjoy, says David Shorts. I love it.
Yeah, no, that CETUS short looks good. So I was just kind of working it up on my end here.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But yeah, no. So like I said, guys, I want to bring along in a short to y'all. My thought process this weekend, just like what Dylan was saying here with his dominance chart, I have a very similar chart. I just speculate that when the markets close and the whales know that there can't be much of a Bitcoin, volatility. Yes, maybe a percentage and a half, whatever. But it would be nice to see this little rollover here this weekend. So I never trade this one, but it looks really good. And that is Sonic, right? So Sonic, I was just kind of going through, and there's a lot of things that are here that I really like, and so let me kind of explain. So we have a 10-hour higher time frame, hidden bullish divergence. We have a fixed range pull here with a point of control right here at 0.51, right? So that's really the key here, is this level at 0.51, 0.52. We have a 50-day moving average coming in here as well. We have an anchored VWAP from the absolute low, and we have a rising trend. We also have a bullish order block right below. So there's just confluence after confluence after confluence. This is also, I would say, an easy invalidation. So if we lose these major, this trend, if we start to go below the anchored VWAP and point of control, we see something like this. It's a very simple, let's get out of the trade. But what we've seen here in the history of the price action is we have this little rally and a pullback, then a rally, then a pullback, then a rally, then a pullback. So I'm thinking a little rally. Okay. Now I'm not thinking it's going to be massive. It could be, but for the weekend with dominance coming down a little bit, maybe we get a little 10%, 16, 20% pump. Okay. So just like that Twitter post that Dylan was going over, there's a lot of people I'd imagine that are sidelined. There's a lot of chop. This is not the time to be aping in, right? It's like what Dylan says, nibble just a little bit, no crazy size. I mean, the big move already happened, right? And we were already positioned for that. Of course, we want to see that again, but in the meantime, we kind of have to, a mentor of mine says, man, you can only take what the market gives you, and the market really doesn't care about what you think, right? So we play the market, even if we get a little pump up here for the weekend, take some profits, but ultimately, guys, the target or the entry point is between 0.52. Okay, so let me kind of just draw this up here and give you guys these levels. 0.52, right? And even now, if you want to nibble just a little bit now, it's completely fine. So low leverage, start out, and again, once you start to see price action come down into the trend, that's where you could definitely start adding some size here, right? So if price action starts to do this, this is where you add some size, maybe increase your leverage just a little bit, but again, watch the trade. And so, 0.52 to 0.54, I would say, is the entry. Okay. So again,
I just want to clear something up so everybody understands. Now, David is a swing trader. What is a swing trader? Well, typically it's a guy that wants a bigger move. Now, what you watch from me on my show is you get short-term stuff. We trade 15-minute DGen things, and then you get swing trades from me. What David is showing you here is specifically a swing trade. So it's not a situation where you go in with 20x leverage now, okay? That's asking to get rinsed, okay, or invalidated. So what he likes to do, build his position on low leverage, nibble slowly, ladder in on weakness, let it come down. When you're ready, let the trade go red. Trust your big zones, trust your areas, let it go red, okay? Laddering in, and then you wait for that big move. Just like Turbo that he gave you guys a week ago, sometimes you wait a few days, and then you get the move. Sometimes you sit in red, and then you get the move, okay? Did I explain that well, Dave?
Yes.
Are you happy with that explanation?
Yes. I'm not much of a scalper. Sometimes I'll land a trade that immediately takes off, but, like Turbo, it took a little bit of time. I'm still in layer, right? Some people were asking me about layer. Yes, I'm still in that thing, right? But it's always that surprise pump that happens in a couple hours, and it's like that's it. The waiting's over, and now you get to buy some handbags.
There we go, sir. That's what we like. Okay.
So
you got the entries, yeah? You got the TPs?
Yes, and let's give you guys the final stop loss. So I would say final stop loss is we start to have a candle close, 4-hour candle close below 0.5053. So let me repeat. Final stops, 4-hour candle close below 0.5056, right? And again, if you start to see price action start to drift here, you don't need to wait for the stops if you really feel like it's coming down. And let's just say you're watching Bitcoin and Bitcoin's dumping, use your intuition, if you will, and cut the trade. But I really feel strongly about this trade setup. Again, I never trade Sonic, and again, I love just TA, and this one's kind of screaming to me a bit. And yeah, the optimistic view is dominance starts taking a big plunge, and price action finds its way above here and holds value area high, and then we go for the macro 618 retracement, which would give us a 46% move, right? So I'm not going to be greedy. I'm going to be taking profits this weekend, but again, anything could happen, and
Yeah, man. Look, I think the key here is if we acknowledge what some of these oscillators are telling us, and this 10 hour is actually pretty bullish. I mean, this 10 hour does look good, but if we acknowledge like short term, looking for a bounce here, but the daily is bearish, guys, on a lot of these tokens. So let's just be measured here in how we do things. Dave, I see hype is now actually breaking into a level, so I just want to cover this hype quickly, and then you've got another short for us.
Yes,
coming up.
Yes, I just entered the trade.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Sorry, did you just enter a trade? Sorry, Stars. Okay, talk to me. What are we shorting here, bro?
All right. So, was kind of going through and what's a good short right now? What's double digits? And so Parcel was one that kind of came to mind. So I looked it up on Twitter, got with James. He kind of did a little bit of research there. And so I took a short position. I took a 5X, nothing crazy. I took a half size position. And the reason why I took a half size position is because I'm anticipating maybe an additional pop-up here. But let me just kind of take you through my thought process on this one here. So first of all, we've just had this nothing but a big rise to the upside. We have hidden bearish divergences, and it just printed a blue reversal dot, I guess like a candle, one candle ago here. Okay, we also have a massive horizontal resistance on the macro, right? So you guys can see here, support, and we basically lost it, and now we're coming up into it again, right? So this is kind of giving me the turbo vibes. The other great thing I like about this idea is that I have an anchored VWAP drop from the high here, and we are coming right into it, right? So typically when you have an anchored VWAP from the all-time highs, that is super high conviction. So, again, we could see a little bit of a pop-up here, but I'm expecting a candle close below the anchored VWAP and looking for that pullback here. Okay. I don't know.
So I'm entering this with you. I've just opened a starter position. Where do I put my next sell order? If I'm going to ladder into the short, where's my next sell order?
Yeah. So look, I'm 5X leverage, and I think somewhere in this region here, maybe this order block, maybe 0.16 makes sense. But you could even have one right at the anchored VWAP. And that would be, I would say, between 0.155 to 0.16. That would be kind of the second order region here.
Okay, so 0.155. Okay, so let's try that. 0.155. Okay, 0.155. Okay, cool. Done.
Yep. Now you guys can see there's a point of control. There's a 382 here. There's a 100-day MA. We've seen reactions off of there, right? So this could just be a bullish pullback situation, and then we go. But I am looking to capitalize on the rejection here. So that would essentially give us a 20% move to the downside, right? Again, very volatile. Degen play, low leverage. Don't get crazy with it. But yeah, I would say a solid TP zone is 0.11. Right, so for those of you guys that are wondering what's a good TP zone, right here at this point of control, 382. And then ultimately, if we do catch the top here and we do reject from this major horizontal level, which we've seen in the history of the price action, TP2 would be a banger right here, which is a 618, a 50-day MA, and that would give us a pretty dang nice move to the downside here, which would be about a 40% move. And in the grand scheme of things, that's really not that much compared to how low we are here, right? So again, this is not like a swing short, but it could be, a nice one here.
Okay. So it could be a little dip coming. Just be careful with stops. Be careful with position sizing. Be careful with your leverage. Don't ape in 20x here. This is not the game we're playing at the moment. We're playing in a laddering game here, expecting some possible upside to try and flush some people out. Okay, so just as long as you guys understand, and then we're going to put that chart is going to go into Chart Hackers for you guys as well. You'll pick it up over there. Okay, so I'm locked and loaded, bro. Let's see. And, what do we call this? Wrong or rich? Okay, so we're here in 𝗶𝗆, okay, and I've now made this isolated 5x position. You can see I'm still got half my pendle is running. That's still doing quite nicely. And then I've got now Parcel that I've just started on 𝗶𝗆 here and got my first order in 5x. Okay, it's isolated. And yeah, we'll give it a go. Guys, remember all the things I talk about on the show are sitting in the show description below. Everything is there, including that daily candle newsletter for you guys. Free alpha into your email inbox every single day. Okay, there it is. Just grab it under the show description. It's sitting there for you guys. Okay, let's go. Let's talk. Oh, here's my 𝗬𝗃. Okay, my 𝗬𝗃 is going to cut at 232. You can see we hit the zone. Okay, anyone who took this 𝗬𝗱 earlier today, we're cutting at 232. I've got a hard stop there. Just waiting for that one. What I want to talk about is HYPE. Okay, so HYPE is now moving into the upper band of the scalp trade that we gave earlier today on the Hacker Zoom. And this was our breakout play. So that exact game plan I showed you on 𝗬𝗰 is exactly what we wanted on HYPE. We want the pump up, you want that retest, and then you want the buys. Okay, so very simple breakout plan. And we identified the squeezy setup that I spoke about. You get the pop, retest, bang. Okay, and that is what we played on HYPE. It's now at major resistance. Okay, look at that, 27.77. This is the danger zone. This is where you ask your questions. Do you take profits? Do you open shorts? And things like that. And I was saying to James, I wanted to try and short HYPE again, but I wasn't feeling great. And what did James say?
Careful. That's another one, just like OM. It likes to just rocket. Heavily manipulated. Watch out.
So I don't know. HYPE just does this thing where it keeps on grinding. Okay, so for me, my view on this thing was, let's try and catch this breakout, because there is potentially a bigger move on HYPE brewing. If the market starts seeing some of this action, we can see we are at a major resistance. So there's no new trade now on HYPE. I'm just covering this for all the hackers as well that took this with me earlier today. And you can see we're at resistance there. And now we're at a major area. But if we do get a move, there is a possibility that the market runs this weekend and we might see something like 35, for example. But right now you can see we are at major resistance. So 29.55 is the big one there for me. So hackers, depends how you want to play that. You can see where my stop is. I've moved my stop 26.5. We're pretty much zero risk now on this thing. And let's see, if we get some kind of pop this weekend, let's see. Pop, retest, bang, so true. Jez T, yeah, you absolutely nailed it there, bro. Okay, nice. Let's talk about this, okay? The XRP army. So my daughter tells me you're in the army. Yeah, the XRP army. Get the fuck out of my house. Okay, so guys, XRP, let's talk. Let's have a discussion. And you can see in terms of XRP on the daily, now I haven't touched this one in a while, but we've broken a massive trend and we are looking for some kind of reversal. And you can see that is in play at the moment. What I love for a reversal play on a major time frame is typically the macro 382. That's always some kind of banger here for us. So I just want to highlight how much confluence you have. So if you are obsessed with XRP, and like you're obsessed about it, okay? There's a massive level here for you. Anything from 2256 down to 217. It's a massive zone. So anyone who likes XRP, like James, if you do get a dip in the market and there is a massive sell-off, that's a buy zone for me, okay? So I just want to highlight that. 200-day MA, 50-day MA support, 382 horizontal trend. There's a lot going on in that region. So XRP traders, until you lose that level, this is when you shit yourself, okay? That is when you go start crying, because that means the market is done and we are all getting rinsed, okay? We're going to zero. Anything down to 225 is good for me until then, okay? And I prefer to be in the reserves for the XRP army. Okay, let's go. I've got another one for you guys. Oh, Launchcoin. I spoke about this dog shit yesterday, and I think we're finally going to get a possible scalp entry zone. So guys, just get your alarms on or get ready for this thing. Remember, we covered this in detail yesterday, internet capital markets. It was looking bearish. I wanted that the loss of trend, retest, and dump, and that's what they're giving us. So now possible long for you guys. 1511 is what you're going to be watching. 1511. You'll probably get a reversal here as well. So teeing up nicely. Just be patient with this thing. Okay, 1511 is where it's at. Then shitcoin casino. Let's talk. Quick run through on some of the shitcoins, Dave. Here's Bonk. We are still in the first bounce zone. It's looking more and more bearish as we speak, sitting on this level. First decent bounce zone. How many did we have here? We had about 4. Okay, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're dropping in again. So bullish order block here, guys. If you keep getting chopped up in Bonk, just be careful. A lot of these alts are like that at the moment. What I can suggest, if you want to play these levels, wider stops, smaller position. Take out the equation of getting chopped up and stopped out 5 times in the same range. Okay, so have a bigger stop, lower leverage, smaller position. Don't get stopped out 6 times on the same trade. Okay, so bonk for me 207. down to 205 is still in play as a possible bounce zone. The longer it stays here, the more time we've got for some kind of reversal print as well on this oscillator. So let this thing play out. In fact, let's look at this on lower time frames here. Let's just see where we are. Okay, so yeah, more time for bullish divergence. There's going to be another bullish divergence print potentially if it does drop to a new low. So you're going to see some kind of move here. So even if it does that, okay, prints a higher low on the oscillator, you might see this bonk just wick down there, bang, and then start sending a little bit higher. So watch that area, okay? It's by no means a safe zone, but watch it. It's a degen bounce zone. Then higher conviction for me, guys, 1788, okay? 1788 on bonk. That is the high conviction one. That is a weekend sell-off, weekend dump, okay? Look for that, 1788. Let's go Fartcoin, same story. Possible short-term bounce zone. We had 4 or 5 bounces on this region. Now looking a little bit heavy. Okay, so next bounce zone for Fart, 1.136, 0.98. Okay, so watch out. 1.136, 0.98. I would expect quite a nice bounce there. And we'll get some kind of tie in, most likely on lower time frames as well. If it drops into that zone, let's just check. Yeah, give it time. It needs to come lower, so you'll probably get a divergence print here. Look at that. You'll print a higher low on that oscillator, and you might get a new low on the price, 1.136. Look for that bounce there. James frantically writing that note down. He's going to trade some farts this weekend. Okay, let's see what else we got. Shitcoin Casino. Brett, yeah, hanging on. Look at that. Rising trend here. Looking for a squeezy setup on Brett as well. And just hanging on at the moment. So you can see what we're looking for here. Squeezy, 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 pop. Okay, that is what you're doing. And if you start losing these types of levels, you start closing under trends, it starts getting super bearish there. Okay, so look out, be super careful with how you're doing things. Brett, right here, 0.07. That is a possible area where you can get a reaction. You can see trend, horizontal 618. This is extreme degen stuff we are talking about at the moment. Then next level, okay, high risk stuff we are doing here. And next level is 0.069 for a possible bounce. Now, remember, when you're scalping, especially on these lower time frames, you need to let these things come back down and reset. So let's just take a look where we are on the 15. Okay, 15's nearly there. Okay, so you typically will get a reversal at some kind of like support zone or something. We're almost there on that 15 minutes. Okay, so just see if this thing can hold out here. 0.07 and 0.069. Okay, those are the levels there for Brett. And Peppy, same story. Okay, so this thing, Dave, yes, bro. How many bounces off this 200-day MA are we going to get? Okay, so if there is more weakness, Peppy, guys, that's your guy. 0.1288 is your support buy zone, and then big danger zone up here for you guys, same as yesterday, pretty much anything from 141 down to 139. Big danger zone there, guys. Danger. Okay, be careful up there. Right, we're running out of time here. I think we well covered. Longs, degen longs, shorts, and there's a pump. What am I missing, bro? Is there anything else you got? Anything else you want to give to these guys?
I mean, a lot of guys were asking for whiff. I mean, guys, whiff is kind of already ran, so just take your profits. We talked about that one earlier, but yeah, no, weekend shenanigans for sure. I think, you know, again, be cautious out there. We're at resistance. Don't be doing anything crazy. Save your capital for the bigger moves is the highest recommendation I can tell you. So. Okay,
small positions now. We're dicking around, little stuff. When the big reversals come, you're going to get it from us. Okay, you are 100% going to get it from us. Okay, so whether you're in Hackers or whether you're watching the show, you are going to get it. Just to update you on BTC. Look at that, ping into our first resistance zone there, 104.175. Look at that wick, and now potential move lower down. Okay, so remember, there are lots of games going on here at the moment with the market makers. It's easy pickings and lots of chopping around going on. And there, Chaos is very proud of himself. Gave whiff on the Zoom this morning in Hackers. And how do you know when someone's a pilot, Dave? Because they tell you, okay, that they're a pilot. And how do you know someone gave whiff? Because they tell you. Chaos, love you, bro. Love you. Okay, Dave, thank you. Dave's going into his Zoom now for Hackers. So, Dave, see you guys later. It's Sunday. Obviously, he'll be here with me. And James, thank you, sir. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
We'll catch up later. Okay, guys, thank you. Be safe out there again. Choppy vibes. I've got you guys. Sunday night, I've got you covered. Okay, I'm coming here. I'm coming in hard Sunday, whatever they give. Okay, we'll sort you out. See you later.